How about a big hand for our Choctahatchee High School Air Force ROTC Color Guard. Front Rifle, Cadet Major Paige Letweiler. U.S. Flag Bearer and Color Guard Commander Cadet Lieutenant Megan McDonald. Florida State Flag Bearer Cadet Lieutenant Ashlyn Holzer. Air Force Flag Bearer Cadet Captain Jeremy Figueroa. And Back Rifle Cadet Captain Brady Nichols. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mike Minnick, and here with me is Rick Caraway of the Commemorative Air Force, and we will serve as your host for this historic flyover. Also assisting us here is Tech Sergeant Tyler Bacon of the 1st Special Operations Group, and commanding and taking care of all of us over here at the top of the island is controlling is the Special Operations Group on the roof of the island, so how about a big hand for those guys up there as well. In just a few short moments, U.S. veteran pilots and their crews will fly World War II aircraft in celebration of the 80th anniversary of the Doolittle raid. The United States Air Force will showcase their aircraft in a celebration of their 75th anniversary. The Raiders' families and friends are with us today next door in front of the island resort.
Earlier today, I was able to attend a solemn ceremony that took place at Northwest Florida State College, honoring the passing of the final crew member of the Doolittle Raiders, Colonel Richard E. Cole. 79 silver goblets had been turned over as the final Doolittle Raiders. The goblet was turned over today. Richard E. Cole was 103 years old. Colonel Cole was Jimmy Doolittle's co-pilot in plane number 1.
On April 18, 1942, 16 B-25 bombers led by Lieutenant Colonel Jimmy Doolittle with 80 brave volunteer airmen took off from the deck of the USS Hornet just 4 months after the Japanese sneak attack of the Navy base at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. When the crews took off, they knew they would not be returning to the carrier and they could not land on it. Instead, they had a plan to land in China. The mission was a huge success, and it let the Japanese know that their homeland was vulnerable to attack and helped to unify Americans in the quest to win the war. However, of the 16 aircraft, only one was able to land in Russia because they were forced to take off 8 hours early because of the discovery of the aircraft by a Japanese patrol boat. The remaining aircraft ran out of fuel and either crashed or bailed out.
This year is 2022. It's the 75th anniversary of the United States Air Force. Here at Fort Walton Beach, we are very proud of 2 important Air Force bases. Eglin Air Force Base is the largest in the world, and it is known as a home for testing munitions and other testing. And we also have Hurlburt Field, home of the Air Force Special Operations Command.
Every day, American service members selflessly put their lives on the line to keep us safe and free. Please take a moment when you see a man or woman in uniform to thank them for their service, sacrifice, and support of their families. In just a very short moment, we will see our first aircraft coming along. I don't know, Rick, looks like a pretty good crowd out here today, I'd say. Also want a big shout out to the Boardwalk for hosting us today. They've put a lot of work into this and hope you guys enjoy it. Whenever you think about coming back down to the beach and get a little something to eat, you might want to come on down here to the Boardwalk. All right, I think if you look way off to the west, I just see our first aircraft approaching right now. Everybody put their hand over their eyes. There you go, sir. Nice work. Our first aircraft is a B-25. The Lady Luck, piloted by Pat Harker and Doug Rosendahl.
And as Mike said earlier, this B-25 is similar to the type planes that were used in the Doolittle raid. The North American B-25 Mitchell is an American medium bomber that was introduced in 1941 and named in honor of Major General William Billy Mitchell, a pioneer in U.S. military aviation.
And now flying overhead, 3 T-6 Texans, piloted by Bruce Belzer, Ray Watson, and Quinn Ducharme.
Quite a treat for us here today. The T-6 Texan was used as a trainer to train future fighter aircraft pilots in World War II. The plane was used until up into the 1970s, eventually worldwide.
Smokes on of 2 T-34s, piloted by Tony Diaz and Mike Mosing.
I got him.
The T-34 is approaching the pier now. 2 of those, they are known as the Beechcraft T-34 Mentor. It's an American propeller-driven single-engine military training aircraft. It is a successor of the T-6 Texans that just flew by. And the T-34 still remains in service more than 7 decades after it was first designed by several other countries in the world.
If you look off to the west right now, we see the flight of the Black Ducks. Tell us about the Black Ducks, Rick.
The Black Ducks are a local flying club near Milton, Florida. They're a bunch of military veteran pilots and a few civilian ones that still have the love for these World War II aircraft. The Ducks that are flying today are several different type aircraft. We'll let you know as they get a little closer, but basically they were built in 1940 to 1943, the actual planes that are flying over today. So you are seeing authentic World War II aircraft. The Black Ducks perform in many shows in places like the USS Alabama, other military events, and will be present this coming weekend for World War II weekend in Crestview.
And as you probably noticed, the Black Ducks only fly at 80 knots, so it's taken them a little bit longer to get here.
And Mike will be telling you about the cruise, but just to let our local favorites, since we have a lot of people helping us here today from Hurlburt Field, the Black Ducks are in sight out there now. But the lead aircraft is Lieutenant General Mike Woolley. He was a 7th commander of AFSOC Hurlburt Field. The Black Ducks were famous in World War II for their mission. They were forward observer aircraft for artillery. Remember, in World War II, we had no satellites, drones, or helicopters to scout the enemy positions. These airplanes would fly over the battlefield and call back on their radios to artillery to where the enemy was so they could be destroyed. They had many other missions. The L4 that we'll see here, if you get a chance and see some black and white stripes on the fuselage and under the wings, that one was used in 1944 as an air ambulance. There were no evacuation helicopters at that time.
All right, first aircraft in the flight is Black Duck number 1. It is a Hawker L4 and is being piloted, as Rick told you, by Lieutenant General retired Mike Woolley. Black Duck number 2 is an Aranca L3 piloted by Jimmy Beavers. Black Duck number 3 is a Taylorcraft L2 piloted by Lieutenant Commander retired Mark Watson. Black Duck number 4 is a Luscombe UC-90 piloted by Command Sergeant Major Todd McGreer. Black Duck number 5, Civil Air Patrol Stinson 10, piloted by Major General Clay McCutcheon. And Black Duck 6 is a Eurocope TO-55, piloted by Eric Buckaloo.
The aircraft you see lower is not out of formation and behind. It belongs to the Commemorative Air Force. It's an L5 Sentinel.
And now passing in front of us, an H-860 from the 41st Rescue Squadron from Moody Air Force Base, Georgia, piloted by Captain Art Lambiao. And there's another one there, but we don't know who that was from. We're going to assume it's from the 41st Rescue Squadron as well.
The primary mission of the H-860G Pave Hawk helicopter is to conduct day or night personnel recovery operation in a hostile environment.
Our next aircraft approaching is an MC-130H Talon from the 15th Special Operations Group, Hurlburt Field, piloted by Major Titus Moss.
The MC-130H Combat Talon II provides infiltration, exfiltration, and resupply of Special Operations Forces and equipment in hostile or denied territory. Secondary missions include psychological operations and helicopter and vertical lift air refueling.
Next aircraft approaching is an AC-130J from the 4th Special Operations Squadron, Hurlburt Field, Florida, piloted by Major Josh Bowder.
This is the one that makes all those booms you hear when you're around here. The AC-130 is known as a gunship and carries a variety of heavy weapons, mostly to target ground troops.
Our next aircraft is the CV-22 from the 8th Special Operations Squadron, Hurlburt Field, Florida, piloted by Captain Paul Grau and Captain Trenton Grabowski.
The CV-22 Osprey is a tilt-rotor aircraft that combines vertical takeoff and hover like a helicopter, but can also fly by turning the engine straight and fly like a conventional wing aircraft to save fuel and get higher speed.
Next aircraft approaching is the A-10 Thunderbolt from the 75th Fighter Squadron, Moody Air Force Base, piloted by Captain Brandon Bailina.
The A-10, more popularly known as the Warthog, was designed to provide close air support to friendly ground troops by attacking armored vehicles, tanks, and other ground forces.
Oh my goodness, the next aircraft upon us is a B-52 from the 11th Bomber Squadron, Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana, piloted by Major Daniel Harrison.
The Boeing B-52 Stratofortress is an American long-range subsonic jet. A powered strategic bomber and served the Air Force since the 1950s as it is projected to continue far into the future.
Now, man, I gotta tell you, that's impressive right there. Woo! Next aircraft coming down the line is a B-1 Lancer from the 34th Bomber Squadron, Ellsworth Air Force Base, South Dakota, piloted by Captain Greg Schlendel.
The 34th Bomb Squadron was the same squadron in World War II that Colonel Dick Cole was a member of. The Rockwell B-1 Lancer is a supersonic variable swept-wing heavy bomber used by the United States Air Force and is commonly called the Bone.
The Bone. And that's because of B-1, right, Rick? Go ahead, kick it into burn. We love it. It's like that B-1 outran the next aircraft, Rick. I'm not real sure.
Yeah, that's pretty bad when a bomber's outrunning a fighter, especially one in this fancy.
Oh, no, don't say that. Uh-oh, here they come. Two F-16, one F-15EX Strike Eagle, and one F-15E.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is a high air superiority fighter.
Right there it went. They didn't want to stick around long. Next aircraft approaching is the F-22 Raptor from the 43rd Fighter Generation Squadron, Eglin Air Force Base, Florida, piloted by Captain Connor Howard.
The F-22 Raptor is an American single-seat, twin-engine, all-weather stealth attack fighter.
Next aircraft approaching is an F-35 Lightning from the 58th Fighter Squadron, Eglin Air Force Base, piloted by Captain Alex Cott.
The F-35 Lightning II is a single-seat, single-engine, all-weather stealth, multi-role combat aircraft.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to present our final flyover of this historic event on Florida's beautiful Emerald Coast. Thank you for being a part of this celebration, and we would like you to participate with our honored guests and families, the Doolittle Raiders, who are with us next door today.
A perfect setting to honor these heroes of our country who trained here in Fort Walton Beach at Eglin Air Force Base for the highly secret mission that gave America the hope we could win World War II. Today, April 18th, is the 80th anniversary of the Doolittle raid, known as the Tokyo Raid. Historic World War II aircraft will be flying in a missing man formation, a magnificent and solemn aerial maneuver. A B-25 Mitchell bomber, like that flew by earlier today, will be leading in formation with 3 T-6 Texans. Today's missing man formation is in honor of Colonel Dick Cole and all the Doolittle Raiders that have passed away. One of the B-25 bombers will pull up and away from the formation as a symbol to these brave men who have departed to the heavens.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes our flyby commemorating the 80th anniversary of the Doolittle raid and the 75th anniversary of the Air Force. It is a sad passing of Colonel Dick Cole, our last remaining member of the Raiders. Thank you, Rick, for participating today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us once again at Al's Beach Club for another set from the Choctaw Jazz Band.